Inside this video, I'm going to show you how to work towards your first unassisted chin-up. Why would you want to work towards an unassisted chin-up? In my opinion, the chin-up is a perfect display of power or overall strength versus body weight ratio. If you're carrying an extra 5 or 10 kilos, it's going to really show on this move in particular. So if improving your body composition and improving your strength is one of your goals, then the chin-up should definitely be on your radar. I'm going to show you the tools that you need in your toolbox to be able to perform an unassisted chin-up. I'm going to show you how to use these properly because they are often misused, and I'm going to show you how to progress with them. So stay tuned while I take you through this unassisted chin-up tutorial. So what we have here is essentially an anti-gravity device. Whenever we're lifting, we're often lifting against the force of gravity, which pulls in a linear direction straight down. Unless we're using pulleys, that's what we're working against. Now, in the chin-up, your biggest enemy is gravity pulling you down. These bands are going to alleviate that gravitational pull and allow you to really nail the form with your pull-up without having all of that extra load that kind of makes that hard. Now, the thing with pull-ups is they're very specific. You can have a really strong lat pull down, you can have a really great and efficient kipping pull-up, but most of the time that stuff doesn't actually translate over to a strict pull-up. So to be able to achieve an unassisted pull-up, you're going to need to really train in that strict form to achieve it. Now, before we get into how to actually perform the move, I want to show you how to progress with bands. You'll notice that each band is a little wider than the next. The width of the band directly cross-relates to how much resistance it gives you. The thicker band being the band that takes off the most weight. So as you could imagine, when you first get started, you'll need a pretty thick band. You can pair these bands up. As you can see here, if you've got a red and an orange, then that's going to give you quite a lot of help. Some people, they need all three, right? But as you go along in your chin-up journey, you will gradually reduce the total width to take away the extra help. As you get stronger, you won't need as much help. So the way in which we do this is, for example, if we start with all 4 bands, that's quite a lot of help. You can take the pink away. That would be one progression. Now, each band gets a little bit thicker, so you don't want to keep taking bands away, otherwise you're going to be making huge jumps. So here, if we take away the pink, right, we can then take away the the yellow, but then add the pink to the orange, right, and then take the pink away again. In this case, you might take away the orange and bring back the yellow, right, and then you would take away the yellow to bring back the pink, and take the pink away, and then you would go from the red to the orange, right, and then you would go from the orange to the yellow, and the yellow to the pink. Now that there is your best case scenario. You can do that every week, but chances are you're not going to be able to do that every week. So you will see in the next half of this video the 8 cues that I use to nail the chin-up. Now each of these 8 cues are an area for improvement. It might take you 8 weeks on one band to nail all 8 cues. And if you think about all of those progressions there are about 8 or 9 different progressions in band width. So if you get 8 and put 8 times 8 together, you've got 64 weeks there. So as you can see, if you've never done a chin-up in the past, you're going to take the good part of 12 months to really nail this. And if you're patient, persistent, and consistent, then you're going to reach your goals. So let's take it over now to the chin-up itself. When performing any exercise in the gym, there are a few positions to which you'll need to pay particular attention to. The first being the starting point, the transition to the end point and the end point itself, then the transition back to that starting point, okay? And as you will see here, this is what we're going to work on. The first thing is the starting point. So there are 3 cues to this starting point. The first is getting your chest up and your shoulders down. So there's 2 right there, 2 different cues. Shoulders down, chest up. And as you'll notice in that position, my torso is tilted. This is a great biomechanical position to pull from. If I were to try and pull from here, then I'm not going to engage the big latissimus dorsi muscles, all the back muscles that are assisting my lats. I'm going to be really heavily pulling with my arms. If you take a look at my arms compared to my back, I've got a much better chance of pulling with my back than my arms, right? So we want to get into a nice biomechanical position, and then we don't want to forget this lower half. Okay, you want to keep your legs nice and straight, but squeeze your glutes and lift up so that all the force is pushed upwards rather than being carried along and dangled down. So they're the first 3 cues. Okay, now you're a little closer. Let me show you the next 3 cues. This is going to incorporate the transition to the end point and the final end point at the end of the move before you start to lower yourself back down to begin the next rep. Now, the first thing that I want you to work on with this transition is pulling your elbows down. We're going to pull from the elbows rather than focus on getting the chin above the bar. By doing this, you're going to be adding the elbows to the ribs, which is the predominant range of motion that the latissimus dorsi on the back, the big back muscles, are involved in. We're going to also focus on keeping this band as tight to the body as possible, and I'll show you what that looks like when you don't do it so you can see the difference. There's a lot more control in keeping that band close, and the band, again, is an anti-gravity device, so it really needs to stay in line with the gravity line of force as much as possible. And then at the top, we're going to really make that rep stick, which is really important for back training if you want to activate and really strengthen those back muscles. Sticking it at the top without rounding over through the shoulders. So you won't see it when I'm up there, but what we want to avoid is this position here, where we've pulled up far enough, but then we've tried to kind of get a little bit higher just to get our chins over the bar. Your limb length will determine whether or not you'll get your chin up. And I've seen people do chin-ups who have never really ever gotten their chin up above the bar because they've had too long a forearm. Where on the other example, someone with a shorter forearm will be able to much easier get their chin over the bar. Okay, let's have a look. So transition time. Keeping in mind that we've got our shoulders up, shoulders down, chest up. Okay, glutes engaged, and then from there pulling down from the elbows, making that rep stick at the top. Band is nice and close, then down. If that band wasn't close, you'd be up here, right, and then you'd be kicking to get up. And that just places uneven tension on the muscles, and therefore the muscles don't actually get an opportunity to get stronger. So now that we've gone over those 3 cues, we've got 2 cues left. The lowering phase of every rep, and this applies to anything in the gym, will determine the next rep. So if you lower with care, you'll be set, ready to go for your next rep. And at the bottom of the rep, or when the first rep is completed, and every subsequent rep after that, you have an opportunity to reset. Don't ever be in such a rush that for your first rep looks totally different to your 6th rep and 10th rep. You want everyone to be quality as best as it was when you first started, as at the end. If it starts to degrade, that's when you stop your set, especially with a move like this. So shoulders down, chest up, glutes engaged, smooth pulling action with the elbows. Shoulders are still down, they're stuck there, band's nice and close. We're going to keep those shoulders down, we're going to lower. And then we're going to get to the bottom and recheck that shoulders are down, and then we're going to go again. And that there is how you perform a chin up and how you work towards your first unassisted chin up.